Hello everyone and welcome to Rimworld, a colony simulator by Tynan Sylvester. For those of you who've been watching my Dark Souls, not my Dark Souls, wow. Those of you who've been watching The Long Dark series, we just finished up a second run and I decided to take probably a break from it. I will almost certainly go back to it, but take a small break from it and try something else. And this has been a game that has been occupying a great deal of my time lately. I made the mistake just a couple nights ago of loading up Rimworld because I had not played it for a little bit, and it has gotten a whole bunch of new updates, including an update that deals with moving around the world map in a way that wasn't possible before. And I thought, you know what? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to go to bed for another hour or so. Let's load up Rimworld and see what's what. And when my wife woke up to go to work at 6:45, I was still playing it. And around noon, I was like, you know what? This is getting a little ridiculous. I should probably wrap this up and go to bed. And it took me 2.5 more hours to close the game out fully, which I feel very lucky about. I feel like that was pretty fast. And so I went to bed at 2 in the afternoon. I have recovered my sleep schedule somewhat, mostly because I didn't sleep yesterday. I just stayed up after I quit at 2:45. I just stayed up and went to bed around 2 in the morning again, and woke up at a decent time today. So I'm back on schedule. I just went for a whole day without sleep. It's fine. But I was like, you know what? That is really fun. Rimworld is really fun. It always has been. It's been a great game, and I'm really excited at the prospect of being back into it. But rather than continue the colony that I had started last night, obviously, and put 12 hours into, or whatever it was, we'll start a new one today. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Rimworld, it is a top-down colony simulator. And I know it says colony simulator right there, so that's probably an obvious comment, but you're trying to keep your people from dying. You're making a colony, you're trying to keep them alive, and this game is incredible in the amount of detail it goes into, in the things you have to worry about, the things you get to manage, and the threats that you face. Let's go into it, shall we? Now, a couple of things that I have done here in the options before I loaded in here. I've checked the sound and everything. It seemed to be good when I tested it. I have also re-enabled the learning helper. I don't need it for most stuff, but I would like it to tell me about anything that's new to the game. So I will take a look at that whenever it pops up, and we'll briefly discuss what it's talking about if it's something I'm familiar with. If it's something I'm not familiar with because it's new in the update, and there was a lot. I just finished reading over the patch notes yesterday. Then we'll talk about that too. All right. Now, I actually really like playing Rimworld as the Rich Explorer. One rich explorer out to experience the universe, extra difficult. It claims that. I don't find this to be extra difficult, mainly because you start with gun turrets. And it's one of the first things I build. You build one room, you figure out where your base is going to be, and you build gun turrets all the way around it, and then you just start expanding. And I find this to be a really fun diversion, but it is not the classic Rimworld experience. That would be 3 crash-landed survivors. The 3 of you awoke in your crypto-sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely got to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown Rimworld. Your faction will be new arrivals, obviously. You start with 3 people. You start with silver, which is the equivalent of currency in this game, 800. Packaged survival meals, 44. That's to keep you started until you can get your own form of food. Some medicine, some components, which you'll use to make machinery. 1 bolt-action rifle, 1 pistol, 1 plasteel knife as a melee weapon, a random pet. You really want a dog or something, or a warg or something like that, because you can train them to do certain things. And if you get like a cat, they're untrainable, like which is pretty funny. I like that, but it means they're not very useful around the colony. But they are good for keeping your mood up, which is good. Steel 450 and wood 300. The map is also scattered with an additional 720 steel. 3 ship chunks, which you can break down into various components, and 7 packaged survival meals. And so this is what we're going to do. This is the classic, and it's the way that the game is typically played, and I do like it. It's fun. But I for those of you who might be interested in trying it, the Rich Explorer is one that I find quite fun as well. The last one is 5 Lost Tribespeople. You basically start with very little technology at the very lowest end of the research tree and try to work your way up. It's interesting. Okay, let's go. All right, so then we get to choose our AI storyteller. This is the equivalent in most games of selecting your difficulty. Cassandra Classic creates story events on a steadily increasing curve of challenge, so that it gets harder as you go. BB Chillax generally means that the game is not as difficult, but when big disasters happen, they're just as bad. And Randy Random, who does utterly random things. So you could go for years without a single bad event, or you could get 20 bad events, one a day for the first 20 days when you first land. It's random. Cassandra Classic is the obvious choice for a game with a good difficulty curve. Let's put it that way. And we have our options of difficulty levels for Cassandra here. Peaceful, which means basically no bad events. Base Builder, which even the really bad threats are pretty weak. Some, which is your normal difficulty. Rough, which is for those who have played the game a couple times. Intense, and then extreme. And permadeath, we will enable permadeath. Permadeath just basically means that you can't save. So if something happens to you, you cannot reload the game, and you are stuck with it. All right, let's do rough. I've played the game quite a few times. I've got about 100 hours into it, but rough is definitely more difficult enough to give me a challenge. I have quote-unquote beaten the game back when there was more of a way to do that, which is you find a spaceship, or you make a spaceship and leave the planet and start over. I have done that, but I did it on some challenge, and that was months ago. So we'll do rough. I don't expect to win, but that's not the point of Rimworld. It really isn't. Let's go. Okay, a random seed. Let us make a seed. I'm going to do a seed with just Geopogg YouTube. There we go. And it's going to generate the world for us here. This will usually take a second, but it's not too bad. And there are other factions in the world, and we're going to see those when this world loads in. And some of those worlds, some of those factions, I should say, you're going to start being at least congenial towards, and some of them you will start with as your enemies. The Skull and Crossbones, surprisingly, are your enemies. So we got like Dog River, Skunks Town, Barracuda Ridge. So you can see all these names, Village of the Plain, and they all have a faction associated with them. So, for instance, these two, which are both red, are both the Gauntlet Town faction. We have the Nukemen faction, and we have Siberium Independent Union, the Troda Tasso of the Ridge faction. Okay, anyway, let's look at all of them. Here they all are. We start as at least general allies of the Siberium Independent Union and the Aurora Unification. They're relatively friendly villages, and they don't mind you. Now, apparently this tribe we are hostile to, but they are enemies of Gauntlet Team and the Nukemen, so there's a possibility we won't be able to make allies with them against these two, which we definitely don't like. You can see that we are hostile against these two all the way to negative 96 and 94, respectively. And they are enemies of everyone, including us. They will be enemies of us, too. Alright. Interesting. So, now where you select your starting spot will make a big difference here. You can, depending on where you choose. So, like, for instance, we have Boiled Forest here. Here's a Temperate Forest. We've got some other options here. Here's desert. We've got tundra, ice sheet, and obviously some of these are going to be more difficult than others. There's islands. We could take an island. That'd be kind of fun. But I typically let it randomly choose for me. Now, what do these different areas mean for you? Well, first of all, depending on where you pick, will depend on whether you have water in your map. It will depend on whether you have an ocean versus freshwater versus a marsh. It will also determine the length of the growing season. It will determine how... Nope, not that. Sorry, wrong click. It'll determine what your maximum minimum temperature is per year. So, for instance, if you choose, the ice sheet, then you're likely going to have a sub-zero temperature at least some part of the year, which makes it very difficult to survive. Whereas if you pick like the temporal or boreate forest, you may never get below zero all year round. But on the other hand, the forests tend to have a downside that you have a lot of rainstorms and thunderstorms, and those cause fires, which can be issues. If you start in the desert, you likely are not going to have much water around, but you might have a lot of rocks for mining, so you might have some good opportunities there. There's a lot of various things, but I usually let it select for me. So let's do an advanced site, or a random site, I should say. Okay, it has chosen the Boreal Forest. All right, very nice. We'll take it, sure. And then we get to create our characters. So for this mode, we create three different characters. And at least for this first run, I'm probably not going to rename them, but in the future I may. We'll see. We can always rename them on the fly in the game too. We don't have to name them at the beginning. You can change it whenever you want. So, what do we got here? Traits. Bloodlust. Likes to start fights, especially likes to start social fights. That can be bad. And psychically sensitive. That means that if there is a psychic phenomena of some sort, she's going to be affected very strongly by it. However, her stats are really nice to start. A decent shooting stat. These little flames mean how interested she is in learning about it, so she will get better faster by doing that skill. So she's very interested in learning to shoot, and she's got a decent to low starting score. Not good at melee, social, animals, or medicine. Cannot cook at all. Incapable of that, in fact. And also incapable of doing research. But excellent at construction. 13 at construction. Terrible at growing. Decent at mining. Good at artistic, which doesn't come into effect until later in the game. And okay at crafting. Alright. Childhood was a cult engineer and became a cult child and then became a construction engineer. Wow, cult engineer. That would be an interesting job. Yeah. So Emma looks decent. I'm a little worried about her studying social fights and being psychically sensitive, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with her. And now Stomp has an issue. Stomp is dependent on smoke leaf, which is a drug. It is very difficult to deal with people with dependencies early in the game. For one thing, you don't have the ability to make it, even if you wanted to. So they go through withdrawal, which makes them very hard to deal with anyway. And then, even if you can make it, they're constantly on it, which is expensive and time-consuming, and it's just bad all around. So even if we're willing to have someone in our colony with a drug dependence at some point, which I really don't, because I'm not a huge fan of drugs anyway, but there are some minor ones that we might accept later on. But we don't want to start with it. That's going to be very difficult. So I think we're going to reroll Stomp the Scientist. Sorry, Stomp. And we rerolled into Min, who also has a smoke leaf dependence. Okay, here we go. Here's someone with no injuries at all, which is kind of nice. And actually related to my other character, Emma. So Emma is the daughter of Elsie, right here. So Elsie is Emma's mother. Which is interesting because if you look here, Emma is 48 years old, but she's actually lived for 93 years, which means she's been in crypto sleep for approximately 50 years. Elsie is actually only 47 years old, but she's been in crypto sleep for like 820 years. So it's actually funny. Elsie's daughter is older than her, non-chronologically. Kind of fun. Okay, so having her daughter around will help her mood, which is nice, and vice versa. But if one of them was to die or get sick or something was to happen to them, then they would suffer more than a normal colonist would if one of their friends died, essentially. So that's something to watch out for. Elsie is psychically deaf, which is the exact opposite of her daughter. She isn't affected by psychic phenomena at all. She is a pessimist, so she has a permanent -6 mood effect. It's not too bad. I can deal with that. But she is also very neurotic, which means she works very fast, but she breaks more easily. She gets upset more easily. She started as a shopkeeper and became a Glitter World empath. Wow. That probably didn't work well for her since she's psychically deaf. She might have had a rough time trying to make that into her adult career. She's also incapable of violence. She cannot shoot or melee, so that's something to keep in mind. She's very good at social. Decent mining, artistic, and crafting. Can research, which is good. But not too great at anything else. All right. And then we have an urchin here. Childhood Rimworld urchin. He's only 18 years old. Okay. Nervous. Mental break threshold plus 8%. Lazy. Global work speed minus 20%, which is terrible. I hate that one. And prostophile. He wants to go bionic, which might happen at some point. But I think I'm gonna reroll this guy. I don't want to deal with a lazy modifier. It's too hard to deal with. He doesn't do anything bad. He just means he works 20% slower than everyone else all the time. And especially when you start, you really want efficiency. All right, we've got a character here, and this is an excellent opportunity for me to point out the worst thing you can possibly get in Rimworld. Someone who's incapable of dumb labor. That is the worst trait you can run into. It means they can't haul, they can't clean, they can't do any of the like normal menial tasks, and don't take someone with dumb labor with who's incapable of dumb labor if you can avoid it. Another person capable of dumb labor, skilled labor, and hauling. I mean, they have decent stats for everything else to compensate, but still. All right, what do we got here? Oh, this is interesting. Okay, we have a Midworld cadet who became a warship captain. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen that background before. Age 32. Incapable of nothing, which is good. Green thumb, which means they get a mood bonus whenever they plant anything. Pretty, which means that when they try to do social interactions, people like her better. And a careful shooter. Aiming time plus 25%, but 25% shooting accuracy to compensate. What's interesting about her is she has a lover who is the faction leader of another faction. Paul Oliver Paulo Bouchard. Now, we can't see in this screen which faction he is a leader of. But we do know, based on what it says there, that he is hostile to us. So she is the lover of a faction that's hostile to us. That's very interesting. A couple little bite scars here that cause a little bit of pain for her and lower her efficiency. That's just something that people come with sometimes, right? Little bit of melee. Really wants to learn melee, but not very good at it right now. Social is good. We also have Elsie, who's good at socials. That's a little bit of unfortunate overlap, but really good at research. Decent at crafting. Decent at construction. So unfortunately, we don't have anyone here who's really good at mining, but Emma will be our miner. That's fine. Anyone who's good at medicine? Not really. We'll get there. And no one who is good at cooking. So, normally, I would re-roll Elsie, probably. I like the idea of Kayloon. I like the idea of... I'm probably going to call her Sarah, but I like the idea of Sarah with this interesting lover situation. I like her stats. I'm pretty happy with this character. I like Emma. I think she's interesting. I would probably re-roll Elsie because we have a lot of overlap right now with social and we could use someone who can cook or do medicine. So here we go. Well, that's gonna be a problem. Missandra really likes and distrusts men. I mean, right now it's not an issue. All of our cultists are female, so that would be okay. But I'm not really happy with her stats, and I don't really like that she's incapable of well, if you're going to be capable of anything, social and artistic are fine. Those are the two that are probably least useful, because usually you want to have one person who's really good at it, and you don't care if everyone else can't do them or not. But again, we're looking for a cook. 4 is not good enough. Also not good enough. Ambrosia addiction. All right. Ooh, really good construction. Again, no cooking, though. And you don't have to do this. You can just start with 3 random and it's fine. But I really want to cook. There we go. Hey, there's a cook. Hey, and got the same. So instead of the father or the mother, we got the father. So here is the father, Smith Guts the chef, and he is the father of Emma. So we just traded out the mother for the father. No big deal. Incapable of dumb labor. Unfortunate. Never mind. You're incapable of dumb labor. I don't want you. I may just have to take someone who is not good at cooking because we can't seem to roll him. Oh, there we go. 7. Okay, here we go. We're gonna take this person. I haven't looked at what they do, but they have 7 cooking, and we're gonna take them. And I'm done rolling. More scars, no big deal. No relationships. Brawler. Interesting. Very unhappy if asked to carry a ranged weapon. Okay, that's okay. She has 0 shooting skill, so we'll make her a melee anyway. Green thumb, likes throwing stuff. And a misandrist really likes to distrust men. All right, well, we'll see how that goes. Right now, it's all females, so we'll just have to we'll just have to deal with that if the time comes. All right. Cave World Tunneler originally became a low-wage worker. Very nice. And really good mining. Wow, 13 mining and very passionate about it. Good growing, good construction, good cooking, and decent melee. Can't do crafting or intellectual. I don't care. That's fine. This is great. I like this. Yep. This be good. All right, nice. Let's start. We'll see what our map looks like. I'm really curious. The three of you awaken your crypto-sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart, and this is just the standard opening. All right, and here are our crew members landing, and there's our escape pods bursting open. So we're going to immediately pause the game with spacebar. You can do most of the game while you are paused, which is good. It gives you time to look around and see what's going on, or if a relatively heinous event is happening to you, you can take a moment to collect yourself before you make a decision. All right. Well, this is interesting. We've got a little bit of water from some marshes around. The problem with marshes is you can't build on them, which can be an issue. It looks like we've got a decent room started here that we've found. A decent room here, but I'm reluctant to break into that. You can end up with some very bad events hidden in these rooms. Not much to mine. That might be our biggest problem. There is some iron here, or some steel here, I should say, which will be nice. What's we got over here? A little bit of machinery, a little bit of steel, a little bit of steel. Okay, good. There's actually plenty of steel around. It's just all in small areas. A little bit of jade here. That's useful for creating artwork and stuff like that. It's also a good trading resource. And some more machinery and some more compacted steel. Okay, so the main problem I see... Oh, more steel down here too. Good. There is a lot of steel. It's just very spread out. I do not want to settle next to that thing. That scares me. So I'm kind of tempted to just settle right over here. There's a couple things I look for when I'm first settling, and one of the big things is a steam geyser. Later on in the game, you can use those to create geothermal energy, which is one of the best energy sources in the game. And I highly recommend thinking about that when you set up your initial base, to make sure you have one in range. There's 3 on screen right now, one here, and one here. And we could easily use any of these spots as our base. But I'm tempted to choose here because there is a little bit of steel right there nearby. This would also be a decent area, because look at all that. There's a lot of steel here. And some silver. Nice. Yeah, silver would be nice too. But there's no steam geyser in here. There's one up here, though. I could do like a long colony right along here. The only time that would be an issue is if enemies spawned along this border. You would not have very much time to deal with them. We could probably work around that. We could also drop down here in between these two if we wanted to. Marshes are passable, typically. Yes, they are passable. Just making sure that those marshes are passable. They are. So the problem with putting a base right on the edge of a marsh is people will just walk across it and you can't build defenses. On the other hand, the advantage of building along a marsh is you can put wind turbines in front of it, and you can get really good wind across a marsh or across a lake, and nothing will grow to get in the way of your turbines. Ooh, nice herd of caribou down here. Good eating those. Those are good eating. All right. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to decide. I think I'll also do here. I could do like a long colony here and put wind turbines across these marshes. I think I will. I think I'm going to use this area here and come up and encompass this steam geyser, and then I'll use wind turbines across these marshes wherever I get the opportunity to make our power grid. That also means there's another steam geyser right here. So if I make my base here, I'll actually have access to 2 of them later on, which will be very nice. Okay, so the first thing to do when you load into this game, well, maybe after you decide where your base is going to be, is select all the items that dropped with you and unforbid them. That allows your colonists to grab them, which is very important. And also grab all your little tools. Components, there's this, I'm just double clicking to select all of them. Prepackaged survival meals, definitely want those. Give someone that gun. Who should it be? Let's look at our characters here. It can't be Browse. Browse does not like to use ranged weapons, so we're going to give her the knife. Shooting 4 on Emma and shooting 6 on Kayloon. Let's give her the pistol, and we'll give Emma the bolt-action rifle. All right, now, usually there's a little bit more iron. Yep, there's some right down here. Good. We'll unforbid that. Or steel, I should say. I keep calling it iron. It's steel. Have we unforbid all the steel? Yes, we have. Okay, now there's usually some more survival meals somewhere, too. Up here. See them? All right, we'll unforbid those. Excellent. And we'll unforbid these. Okay, now all of the equipment should be unforbidded for them to use. Very good. And let's start with setting our work orders. And I'm going to go to manual priorities, definitely. Everyone needs to firefight. If that ever happens, everyone needs to go to that immediately. Everyone should be a patient if they need to be. If they get hurt, we want them to go lay down as opposed to keeping working. With the exception of our doctor. If you are the doctor, then you go to patient second. So you'll do doctoring first, and then you'll be a patient after you've doctored up everyone else. That's important. And Kaylin is going to be our doctor. She has rank 3, but she's also interested in learning to do more. You can see that little flame in the bottom corner of that box. That tells you that she's interested in learning more about it. All right, bed rest is going to be crucial, except for the doctor, be number 2. Everyone should flick switches if we want to do that. And there aren't any right now, but at some point. Kayloon is going to be our warden. That's the person who is good at talking to people. If you need to recruit someone, then you'll go talk to them and try to recruit them, or deal with prisoners. That's good for someone who has social skills. Handling. No one who's great at handling, but Browse is the best, so we'll give that a 2. Cooking, very important, and that's going to be a number 1. Construction, number 1 for Emma, definitely. Hunting is probably going to be... Yeah, Kayloon will hunt. Again, number 2. We want her to be doctoring number 1. Hunting is a secondary priority. And same with Emma. Emma can hunt as well. They both have ranged weapons. Construction for Browse will be number 3, probably. Growing will be number 2. Very important. Definitely want her growing. That's 10 out of 20 is our skill on that right now. It's very good. Mining, very important. You know what? We're gonna drop this down because Browse is good at a lot. So handling's gonna be 3. Mining is gonna be... Handling's gonna be 2, 3. Okay, we're gonna do it that way, I guess. Handling is very quick, so if she needs to do that, she should just get it done and then she can move on. But if we do tell someone to mine, we want them to mine. We want them to mine right away. I might move that down to a 2. Yeah, probably move down to a 2. She will not plant cut. She's going to be busy enough. She's got a lot of stuff to do. So we'll give the other characters plant cutting. Smithing and tailoring on Kayloon is fine whenever we get to the point where we're doing those. Crafting is going to be the same. Maybe, yeah, crafting will be the same. Everyone should be hauling and cleaning. That's going to be important, but it has to be relatively low or else someone will do it full time. Now, I don't mind having a character who does hauling and cleaning full time. That's actually really nice, but at least when you start, all your people are too valuable for that. And research. We definitely want them to do research if it's available. Right now it's not, but that's going to be relatively high on our list of things to do. Okay, I feel pretty happy with that. Let's go to their schedules. Now, the game loads in with them having 8 hours of sleep. I don't think they need 8 hours of sleep. I only really think they need 7. But I do want to give them an hour of joy of free time right when they wake up and right before they go to sleep. And then they'll work the rest of the time. This is a colony where they're trying to survive, so they need to work a lot. There we go. And animals. We do have one animal. We started with a monkey. Hello. What can you do? Ah, okay, so the monkey can be trained in obedience, which we will do, and release. Release basically means that it can attack people. It can be used as an attack person. I generally don't like doing that with my pets. If they die, your colony tends to take a pretty deep mood bonus, and I'd rather just have them around to help people feel happier. So I'm going to train him in obedience, but not in attack. And unfortunately, he cannot learn to haul. He's too small for it. Okay, we're definitely not going to slaughter him either. All right, anything else? A drug policy, we're going to say no drugs. This is a non-drug colony, drug-free, and they can wear anything they want, sure, for now. Research. We do not have a research bench yet. We'll get into this when we do. Our world. Here's the world map. Here's where we are. And you can see we have the Aurora Unification relatively nearby, and then a couple hostile colonies as well. We'll worry about the world map a little later. And our factions. Here is the lover of one of our members. I forget which one already. Let's see, who was it? I think it might have been... Okay, it was Kayloon. So Kayloon is the lover of Paulo Bochard, and you can see in the factions menu, he is the leader of the Nukemen, who hate us. So that's great. Good start in our menu. All right, that's a pretty good summary. Let's get started, shall we? We've been waiting for this for a while. Orders. Let's start by, let's use this room. We might as well. It's here, we're gonna use it. So structure, we'll add a wall to it, we'll add 2 walls to it, and put a door in. That will clean that up. And let's put some beds. Now, usually I like using double beds for people. It makes them a little happier. And it means that if any of them ever get in a relationship and they decide they want to sleep in the same bed, you don't have to remake the beds for them. So I'm just going to make 3 2-person beds right off the bat. And we'll move those around later to separate rooms. They'll prefer that once we have the rooms built, which we don't right now. Put some torches in here so it's lit up, so they're happier. And let's go ahead and just throw a plant in there just to start. They like plants. People like plants. And we definitely want a table so they can eat. They'll put a table back here with some stools. Now, I like making dining chairs. People are happier with them, but they're very expensive compared to stools. So we'll wait on that and just make some stools for now. Okay, that's a pretty good starting room. Let's put in 2 more torches as well. Yeah. There we go. That should keep them happy and safe while we make the rest of their base. And there is a planning tool here, which I really like. Here, planning. We're going to decide where our base is going to be. The first thing I want to keep in mind is our steam vents. That's very important to me. And I know that the device that goes on top of the steam vents is 2 tiles in every direction, so I like to give 3. 1, 2, 3, and then a wall. Oops. Wow, I misclicked that. 1, 2, 3, and then a wall. 1, 2, 3, and then a wall. 1, 2, 3, and then a wall. And 1, 2, 3, and a wall. So that is the room that our steam vent needs for when we get geothermal. And we will get geothermal as soon as possible because it's amazing. So then I'm just going to kind of expand my base. Might as well use this wall. Why not? And come over here. And then we'll go down. Oh, I was slightly off. I want to match up with that. There we go. Then we're going to match up with this. Come down a little bit more. Go over. And this is really long-term. Like, I'm aware. I'm aware this is long-term. We're not going to be able to build this whole base anywhere close to immediately. And come over here. I want to leave a little bit of room away from the marsh so we can put, like, defenses in if we want to, which we will want to. Okay, so here's my dream. My dream plan is that we'll end up with a base that looks kind of like this. Kind of. I'm going to actually expand this out a little bit. I want room for defenses in here. There we go. And then we have another steam geyser right here. 1, 2, 3, and wall. So that's perfect. 1, 2, 3, wall. 1, 2, 3, wall. 1, 2, 3, and wall. Okay, so this steam vent, oops, I do want to be included at some point, but it doesn't have to be right away. So I should probably take this just straight across, match that up there, might as well, just to make everything a little bit more symmetrical. And we will remove the plans for this. Okay, good. I just like to have an idea of what I want my base to look like in the end, and I think that, although a very, very large base, is a good one. Now, for our first base, we're not going to be able to encompass nearly this much. And this steam geyser seems a little bit more ideal. So I'm going to do a quick plan just straight across here. This is going to be our original base, or something close to it. and probably do this. So we'll start with this room, and then we'll expand, and then we'll expand, or something like that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This area here is probably going to be defensive. We'll want a defense on this side and this side. We'll want a defense on every side. Let's just put it out that way. We'll want a defense on every side. And people I know tend to like rooms, or get very happy when they have rooms that are about 8 by 8. So let's do 8 and then a wall. Perfect. 8. Great. 8 and then a wall, and then 8. So we've got a little bit of extra room here, but because of the way that this room was set up to begin with, that's the way it goes. So maybe we'll use this area for defense too. We'll figure it out. And I like all my paths to be at least 2 width. It just helps things stay a little bit more organized. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a room. 8. And a room. 8. And a room. And this room is going to be a little bit bigger, which is fine. We'll use it for crafting, or for batteries, probably, actually. Since it's going to be right next to the geothermal event, that might be ideal. We'll leave a path here so we can get to this expansion at some point when we want to. And then we'll make a room that'll look something like that, or to some degree. 8. And we could just make big rooms over here if we wanted to. Let's see. Let's see how this looks. So we could do something like that. We'll want storage somewhere. And we'll want a refrigerator very close to the storage. And we will want a kitchen very close to that. Could do... I'm just trying to figure out how I want to plan out my areas here. Stockpile, maybe? Stockpile, and... I'm going to do that. I should do this. So stockpile, fridge. What else? Let's make these 3. That makes me feel better. Because then I can put the door in the middle, and it's actually symmetrical, which I like. And that means we should move this slightly. That's only 2. Okay. Well, we'll deal with it. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. For now, I think that's enough planning. That at least gives me an idea of where all my stuff is going to go. And it's very possible we won't actually make this room here. We may instead decide to put some growing areas right here, which would be probably intelligent. So let's go ahead and unpause the game. We'll let them start working, and I'm going to start working on making some structures based on my plans. Yep, need colonist beds. Very nice. What are you guys even doing? Hauling wood. Wandering. Why are you wandering? You should have work to do. Do they not have work to do? Who is that? Kaylin? Oh, you know what? I should put you on construction. Even if it's a low level, or a low priority, you definitely need to be on construction as well. Okay. And we should also put down... where is that? Orders. We want to chop some trees down because we're going to need the wood. And we can't have them in our base anyway, so there we go. There's all the trees for you to chop. Actually, there's some over here too. There we go. And everyone has plant cut except for Browse, right? Yeah, we'll give her a low-level plant cut as well. And we need to set up some stockpiles. So our stockpile zone is going to be right here. This is where they're going to put anything we want to keep. And then for dumping stockpile, which is anything that's just in the way, we'll put that up here, right outside our walls. Okay, very good. And well, let's deconstruct that piece of ship junk. Very good. So then now they should start moving around, doing some stuff, and we'll pump up the speed by 1, just so they can start working. And do that. Go over here. Yep, that's good. Okay. And yes, I know this is a lot for them to do early on, but I think we have time. We've got plenty of wood. Shouldn't be an issue. And let's put in some doors. So definitely want a door here. Definitely going to want a door probably right here. I'm not sure about this one, actually. 1 second. Let me cancel this out and do that instead. And let's put a door here. And we're going to put a path here as well. So door there. That room is going to be slightly smaller, but that's okay. They will handle it. We'll need some more doors in here as well. Before they finish making these walls, let's actually make sure there are ways for them in and out. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then here, 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 and here. People are going to have slightly different sized bedrooms, which is I'm not real happy about, but that is the way it goes sometimes. Not everyone gets the exact same size room. Okay, what is Browse doing? Is she just hauling? Okay, she's just hauling. All right. We should put another stockpile down because we're going to want this to be the fridge. And even though we don't have everything set up quite yet to... Okay, just putting lots of doors, and we want people to be able to have access to these rooms. We do not have the technology quite yet running to make the fridge cold and have it actually work as a fridge, which is, you know, eventually going to be important. But that's okay. We still want to set it up correctly. So zone area, stockpile zone, there we go. And we're going to set this one to be clear everything and then allow food, allow medicine, because the medicine can go bad if it's not kept cold. And we're going to allow animal corpses, because that's what we're going to cook with. Okay, how are we doing? Got a nice start on our room here. We are short on wood, so they're going to chop wood. That's what they're doing right now. They're a little slow at it, but they'll get there. And let's deconstruct these, and we will claim that wall. And we also want to claim... I also want to claim this. Because right now it's not. If we need to modify it, we'll claim the rest of it. For now, that's fine. Okay, finishing making all the torches, finishing making the beds. That's good, because that means that they will have somewhere to sleep tonight. 16 degrees out right now. You know, being a lowly American, I'm not as familiar with the Celsius system as I should be, but 15 degrees, I've learned from this game, is okay. People are fine with it. If you check their gear here, it'll actually tell you what range they're comfortable in. And you can see here that Emma is comfortable in negative 14 degrees to 32 degrees Celsius because she has decent clothes on, which is good. And we can increase that with better clothes later on. All right, they're starting to sleep. We didn't finish one of the beds, unfortunately, so poor Browse is sleeping outside somewhere. I don't know where she went. She's probably right on the screen. I just don't see her. Here she is. She's over there. All right. We do want to get all the food indoors and get it in a structure so that animals don't start eating it. That is very important. And we should set up some plants as soon as possible so that we can grow them while we're still in summer. And I like to do plants approximately 8 by 8. It seems like everything in this game I like to do 8 by 8, but you know. Okay, something like that. And we got to choose what we want here. How good is our grower? Let's see. Growing 10. Wow, okay, so she can make basically anything we want. We want strawberry plants, minimum school of 5. They can be eaten raw without getting people sick, which is nice, and they grow very quickly, which we may need because we're kind of deep into summer already, as you can see. 2nd of August. We want some heal roots. That'll help us make some herbal medication. That will come in handy. What else do we want? We can make trees if we want a wood farm. I don't really care about that at the moment. I don't want to make smoke leaf. I don't want to cause that problem at the moment. So maybe we'll just do some potatoes and some corn. They grow relatively slowly, but they're hardy, and they will let us make some nicer meals later on. Okay. I only have one more building here that I was looking at starting, and that's this one right here. And this will be probably our workstation. I usually like to have that right up abutting our stockpile, but this is pretty close. There we go. And put some doors in as well. Just so people can get in and out of it easily. Yeah, I kind of want one more door. Yeah. All right, there we go. So this is a good start. It's a good start. Let's put it that way. They've got a lot of work to do, so we're gonna bump up the speed just a tad more. Time controls, I'm already familiar with that. And forming caravans we will work on a little bit later on. Don't need that right now. Okay, now as you can see, I've left some areas out of the base. With the exception of right here, which actually I should have. I did that wrong. But fortunately, they haven't started working on it yet. So we'll just cancel this. 1 second. I gotta do this a little bit differently. We're going to leave an opening here of 3. Bring that up. Bring that over. And we do want our fridge to be decently sized. Something like that. And let's make this door right across from the other one. That would bother me. Okay, that looks better. And a door here. So I've left doors outside of every side. Actually, 2 over to this side, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. This will allow us to put down defensive positions, so that if we have raids, which we will, then we'll be able to defend against them. So my current way that I like to do defenses, I don't like to do the mazes. I think that's a little bit... You can do mazes that are just full of traps, but you don't get to really interact with any enemies in that case. And they actually just added in this patch that the enemies are a little bit smarter about traps. So the way I like to do it, and this is just very simple, and this works early on, which I like, is something like this. And I know it looks a little weird, and it is, but I'll show you why in just a second. Okay, something like that. We're gonna do that at every entrance. Oop, that one was a little far away. Okay, so I do that, and then what we do is we put sandbags, which are a defensive structure that you can take cover behind, but still lets you shoot over. And I'm just gonna do plans here because I don't want them actually placing these down yet. We're gonna put sandbags, just like this. Okay? And what you can do then is you can roof this, which makes it dark inside, so it's harder for people to shoot your people, but you can shoot out just fine. You can take cover behind this wall if you want, and you can put turrets right here and right here, which gives them a really nice range of fire while still giving your shooters a place to take cover behind. And you have the sandbags. So I like this. I'm sure there's more efficient ways to do it, but I've had good luck with this particular defensive structure in the past. But I don't want them wasting their steel on sandbags quite yet. Soon, very soon. And we won't get gun turrets for a long time. But this is a good way to plan it out, in my experience. We need defenses, we need a meal source, and we need beds. Did we not make our last bed yet? We did not. We should probably do that. Browse is busy planting. You can see that she's putting down the different plants here. She should be getting a mood bonus from that, I believe. Yep, soda plant. 20 extra mood bonus from that. Pretty nice. We really need to get this last bed done for Browse, so that she doesn't keep taking negative mood penalty from sleeping on the ground. You can see in here that slept outside, disturbed sleep because there were animals and stuff walking by her, I'm sure. Slept on the ground, slept in the cold. All of that would not be a problem if we actually got her bed working. Now, everyone's going to be a little upset that they're in an ugly environment. We haven't cleaned this place up yet. And everyone's still a tad cold because we haven't finished making the doors on our bedroom, which we also need to fix. Who is our main builder? Let's see. It is Emma. Okay. Emma, why don't you make this door? Ah, we don't have enough materials, and every time she gets the materials, she's putting them straight into walls and stuff. So that is a little unfortunate, but we'll try to get there. We really want to make these. There we go. I got it off. So there's some wood on the ground here that Browse just finished building, and so I would like her... Nope, she already used it. She's using it faster than I can tell her to tell her to use it on certain things. Good. They're roofing over these buildings. That's very important. We definitely want to do that. I would like you to work on this door. Emma, go cut down this tree. That is one disadvantage of having this top speed. They're working a little bit faster than I can even keep track of what they're doing. We do have some visitors here from another colony, which is nice. They are willing to trade. Who is our trader? Is that Browse? No, it's Kalen or Kalon, something like that. Let's see what you want to trade. Here we go. So the stuff on the left is what we have. The stuff on the right is what they have. We have some survival meals they'd be willing to buy for $13 each. That's silver, by the way. Silver up here, we have 800. We can buy some hyperweave pants from them for 2,266 silver. I don't think we're going to do that. We could buy some medicine. We could buy some components, but they're very expensive right now. And the only thing they want from us is our meals, so we're not going to give that to them. All right, Emma. You are not working on these doors. There we go. Here, work on that door before you go to bed. There we go. And I would really like her to do the roof first, but I don't think she's going to. We'll just let her sleep at this point, and we'll try to get the third bed set up for Browse tomorrow. We do have a couple berry bushes we've harvested. We'll want to store that stuff eventually. Oh, my storing area for my fridge got messed up because I had to redo that room. So, storage. Clear all, medicine, food, and animal corpses. And then for our normal storage, we're going to say no corpses at all. I don't want stuff like that in my storage. No food, because it's going to go in my fridge instead. And no medicine. There we go. Alright. The other thing we could do is just cancel this bed, actually. Because we have some extra rooms built now. So let's actually build this bed down here instead. We'll give her a big room. She's one of the original colonists, right? We should give her something a little bit nicer. And we do want to make these rooms nice for them to live in. They should appreciate living here. And they will appreciate it more if we give them some plants and a table. And I liked, as weird as it is, I used to think that it was kind of a waste putting this stuff in early because it would take so much wood. But wood is a resource you have a lot of early, and it really makes a difference having this stuff in their rooms. They're just happy. And if you don't have them, they tend to get very sad. And that can really have a strong impact on how well your colony is doing. We will probably make this room into the dining room at some point, although it's a little far from the kitchen. We might make a room here that's going to be the dining room instead. Actually, we probably will do that. Let's just plan that out real quick. And it's going to be just like a long dining room. Oh, and we have our first event. That's going to be our dining room, probably. A mad animal. A local raccoon has gone mad. Let's see where he is. There he is. And we definitely want to defend ourselves from him. Where's he going? He's going after Emma. Draft Emma, and let's shoot this raccoon. There we go. Nice job, Emma. Now, she is hurt a little bit. If you go to her health, you see she took a bite and a scratch. But right now, she doesn't have a medical bed. So we'll just temporarily make that bed a medical bed so she can go rest in it. We will want a med facility and a prison at some point. So we're going to continue working on planning out here. I also probably want an area for a couple solar panels, and I may put those here. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Still working on that. We didn't get the bed done for Bones yet, which I said I was going to do. We can make this no longer a medical bed because Emma is healed up. All right, here's our first minor break risk. Browse is having issues, and that's because we haven't made her a bed. And that's very silly of us. We need to do that so that Browse feels a little happier. And I'd love to finish that bed that's right there. Emma, come cut down this tree. And Kaylin, do the same thing. Now, your colonists tend to not like it very much if you force them to do certain things. They would much prefer to to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And it's something to keep in mind. Well, Browse took the bed that Emma was using, and that's actually fine. I'm actually okay with that, because Emma's attitude is okay. It's not great, but we need Browse to be happy. Now, Emma is getting more and more frustrated with me because she wants to go to bed. That's her main concern at the moment, and I'm not letting her. Namely because she doesn't have a bed. She doesn't know that. She'll figure that out as soon as she figures out Browse took her bed. But, here, I'm going to make her finish this wall. That means this room will be actually finished, and she can use this bed to sleep in. There she goes. She could win an 8. Now she's going to go sleep in a bed. All right, good. I made her a little unhappy because I was forcing her to do that, but at least she has a place to sleep now. And even though it's not roofed, they'll roof it tomorrow, probably. And we're actually making good progress on this. We got about half of the base done and fenced in. Let's take a look at our zone areas again, and let's consider where roofs are going to be. Roofs? It's like the wolves problem I had in Long Dark. Here we go. We want all of that to be a roof, and same there. We want this to be roofed in. That's going to be our security area where our turrets are going to go. We want that to be, again, we want that to be covered because it's hard for enemies to shoot into a dark area. We'll roof this little passageway here. And same with this. Same with this. We'll wait till we make the walls here to put a roof here, because otherwise the roof will fall down. And this can be roofed. There's enough walls there that'll stay up. And we'll go ahead and put a roof over this passageway and what's already made of this wall, or this room as well. Alright, there we go. Minor break risk still from Browse. Let's take a look at her needs. She is totally joy deprived. We don't have anything joyful yet. We don't have any games or anything for them to do. And she's not happy with where she's been sleeping because she has to share it with someone. We can fix that. Let's take this bed here and we will reinstall it in another room. How about this room? Ah, another event. Beavers. A group of hungry alpha beavers has just arrived. Try to eliminate them before they decimate every last tree in the region. So yeah, we should do that. And I didn't click the little thing to go to where they are, so we'll have to find them manually. But that's okay. Where are you, beavers? There's another ship chunk. We should destroy that at some point, but right now I want them to be working on the roofs. Where are these beavers? I should have clicked on the little go to on the event that just happened, but I forgot. So lots of rocks. We'll have to worry about that in a little bit. Oh, there's some steel down here. Yeah, we want that. Let's unforbid that. That's nice. I'm glad that I found that. Lots of rocks. Lots of rocks. There's some animals, but those are not the beavers. Those are elk. I'm just hoping it's going to grab them for me and I'll see them. Right here. Okay. They look like rocks from behind. Look at that. So there's a bunch of alpha beavers. They're going to basically destroy trees until there are no trees on the map or until we kill them. So we're just going to put hunting on all of those. And someone, who is our hunter? Okay, Loon and Emma. Okay, they're going to go hunt. Now, this is a little unfortunate because this is a lot of meat that's probably going to spoil. I don't have a fridge set up yet. Yeah, kind of unfortunate. But we could work on that. We've got our fridge basically walled in at this point. And the only thing we need is power, but we just don't have it. That's fine. Let's remove the plans here because we didn't end up using those. Major break risk on Browse. She's not very happy. Joy deprived, awful barrack, tired. Why'd you eat without a table? We have a table. That's not my fault. Okay. Let's go ahead and get rid of this plan here. Don't need that. And that plan there. Alright. Get rid of those. Those are just to show people what we were planning. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Alright, this cleans up my plans that I was using here, now that we're done with them. I don't think I missed any that are currently built. If I did, we'll find them eventually. Okay. What was I just thinking about? Okay, so this zone goes into our security zone. Let's fix that by deleting that. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Wow. Okay, never mind. Dumping stockpile zone. We're gonna do this. We do want this, but we just want this area of it to be free. There we go. So now it goes around that. Okay, good. We need to set up a place for them to butcher animals and then make food. So here's a butcher's table. We'll set that up right next to the kitchen. Okay, so it will have a work speed penalty right now because it's outdoors, but that won't be true very long. And we do want an electric stove. I generally don't make a regular stove. I just go straight for the electric stove. I think that is fine. Furniture. Set up a dining chair for each of these. They work. People work better when they're in dining chairs as opposed to stools. They like them better. So we'll just do that. And we will need to work on some power. I used to like to start with solar generators. I don't anymore. I really like wind turbines. Some solar generators can be nice to help your wind turbines get started, but I really like going with the wind turbines early. And you can just put them right over a marsh, which is nice. We got an area right here I could do that with. So place one right there, come up, and come up here, place another one. And we're going to sort of offset these a little bit so they're at the base of the marsh boundary. Just like that. More break risk. I could also just put those in a line. That would probably make people happier, wouldn't it? I was just thinking, it's probably going to bother people that those aren't directly aligned. So let's not do that to people. I could also do it this way. That might be better. Can I fit 3 in here? If I can fit 3 in here, I'll do it this way. Yes, I can. All right, good. Excellent. Now, what I like to do here, and I'm not going to do it quite yet because this is going to be a big use for our resources, is you can see that this area that's on each windmill, this is the area that you cannot use for anything. If you use it for anything, then the windmill won't get wind, which is one reason why I like to put them on marshes, because you can't do anything with that land anyway. So, if we look at how far that goes up here, it's right to the edge of this uncompleted wall. You can see that. And right to the edge of the marsh there. So you really want to put a floor down to prevent stuff from growing there. And if we go to floors, I just like to do a simple paved tile. It's neutral in terms of looks, unlike concrete, which is cheaper, but it's ugly and people don't like it. So just do a paved tile. Go all the way up to here. And we're just going to pave that whole area. And that'll keep those windmills very, very happy. And we have lots of steel. Now, we do need to put down power lines, power conduits. So we'll start right behind these windmills. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Just start right there, go all the way across, and then we're going to drag it up through our door. Right to here. Oh, and there is look at that. There is a little tiny marsh right there that's preventing our power line. So we're going to have to go around that. That's fine. In that case, there's no reason to go back down. We'll just do this slightly differently. And because there's no wall right here, I could have gone onto the wall. But I like to be able to repair these if something happens to them, so we'll go ahead and do it that way. Drag it down here. Drag it across. And you know what? Let's drag it across in the middle. We just had a raid. Oh, our first raid. Wow, okay. And yes, I know, I'm laying a lot of power cables. It's alright. Power cables are very cheap, and we've got lots of steel. Okay, so there's a good framework for our power cables. And I will probably also, just for redundancy's sake, drag this out here, take it around, and hook it back up. There we go. So now all of our windmills are attached on both sides here. This will mean that if there's a break in the line here, we don't lose full power. We'll still have access to it, which will be... It's not necessary, but it makes me feel better. All right, let's look at our raid. A group of pirates from the Nukemen have arrived nearby. They will prepare for a while and then attack. Let's see where they are. Oh, there's just one guy. Okay, and he's got a club. All right, so he's going to come down probably in this direction. We'll keep that in mind. It said he'll prepare for a while, so I'm not too worried. And after the raid, we'll probably finish up this first episode. It was a long first episode, but that's fine. And we will continue another time. Plus, my wife is about 5 minutes from getting home, so I should probably be off this when she gets here. We're just waiting for that. Major break risk. Browse, you are not having a good day. Joy deprived. You know what? I usually wait on this, but let's go ahead and just put down a horseshoe pin somewhere just to try to make her a little happier. Here, we'll put down 2 of them right on the edge of where this dining room is going to be. They'll probably take a while to make them, but hopefully she can get some enjoyment out of that. And there's the pirates starting their assault. Browse I don't care so much about. She's a melee attacker. I'd rather her stay away for the moment. But both Kayloon and Emma are going to get drafted and asked to come up here. Okay, there is our attacker. And Browse was actually outside for some reason. Okay, whatever. Kayloon, there we go. Draft you. And come in here. Oh, they're going to try to steal stuff. Well, we're not going to let them do that. Okay, now, your people who have guns can shoot your people who are in melee, or shoot your other people who have guns. The way to prevent that is to make sure that they're right next to each other. If they're right next to each other, they won't shoot each other, which is nice. Browse, melee attack. Okay. And with 3 of us on one of them, it shouldn't be too bad. There we go. Now, we did get a couple people who got hurt. Some bruises, a bruise. Okay, so just some bruises. We don't have a medical facility set up yet. And he's not dead. Let's take a look at him. Wow, really high melee. He was a torturer in adulthood, and he's a pyromaniac psychopath. I don't think we want him. Browse. You are going to beat this guy to death, because we don't want him in our colony. And I also don't want him to just sit there and bleed out. That's kind of cruel. So we'll just finish him off. There we go. And strip him. Okay, and Browse just had a mental break. There's her first mental break. She was very tired, and so she went into a daze. That's okay. That's a relatively minor mental break. And we do now, of course, need to make some graves. We'll just place them right out here. There we go. They're all going to go to sleep. And Browse is still dazing. She'll get out of that and feel a little bit better, and hopefully we can take care of all the problems she has been having by the time she's ready to go into a break again. All right, as tempting as it is to keep going, this is that problem that this game has. I really want to keep going, but we're going to call it quits here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please put a like on it if you did. This is the first episode of a new series, so that will give me an indication of whether or not you would like me to continue it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this in the future, and let me know what you think. I really would appreciate it. Thank you very much once again for watching, and I will see you next time in Rimworld. Goodbye.